how's it going? All right. Christina here. Lindsay will be on in a moment. Holy bad hair. I haven't changed or showered or done anything since my workout this morning, so I'm a bit of a mess. But that's all right. I don't think there's been a coffee chat yet that I haven't been a bit of a mess for, so this is just how you guys are used to seeing me now. Hi, Tina. Good morning. Are you enjoying your day off? Hopefully your weather's a little nicer than we have here. We are a little on the chilly side this morning. Hold on, I'm just adjusting light. That might be better. There you go. I don't know where Lindsay is. She'll be here in a moment. There she is. Hold on. Excellent.
Hi. Ooh.
Hi. Ooh. Bad sound? Is it better now?
Oh, that's better now.
Okay. It was very loud when you first came in, but I was hoping that my headset would work, and it's not coming on, so I'm just going to turn it off.
Ew.
Mm-hmm. There. Oh, maybe it's working. Hold on. Yep, now it's on.
All right, let's do this. Hi.
Happy
Happy Monday.
Monday. How are you?
I'm good. We don't get a holiday here, unlike you guys do, but that's okay.
Oh.
Business as usual. Kids are at school, you know. So happy Remembrance Day in Canada and
Veterans Day in the U.S.
Yes, thank you
Excellent.
to all.
Ava keeps asking how we're going to celebrate and when the presents come. We're like, it's not that kind of holiday. Like, it's more somber, and like we're thankful for the things that we have and our freedom and our ability to go to school and to work jobs. And but Ava is working on a project that she actually wants to share with our group in a little while. So I told her she could go live. She came down this morning and she goes, I want to do a craft for your clients. And I'm like, okay, what kind of craft? And she's like, I want to do a picture of how they're feeling today and then have everybody share it. So
very
get
nice.
ready.
Very nice.
Craft Corner with Ava coming up.
I love it. Well, I think that that's amazing because let's be honest, the kids get involved. And I know you had said that you were doing some vision board with her as well. And that's something that we do with our kids all the time. And I think it's so amazing to kind of see what they believe that should look like through their eyes.
I will take a picture of Ava's vision board. It's hilarious. So we mostly had like Elle magazine, and then we had some cooking magazines, and then my mom had given them some like toy books. So Ava's is all toys and cupcakes. And I'm like, that is very much what Ava feels like life should look like anyways, is toys and cupcakes. So
and I think that's very, very okay, like toys and cupcakes. I know we did our vision board a few years ago now with the girls, the last one that was really one of those moments where you're just like, oh my gosh. And on both of the girls' vision boards, now keep this in mind, we had 0 dogs at the time because we had put our old dog down and we just weren't ready to get a new one. And both of their vision boards had 2 dogs on it. And I was like, never gonna happen. And now look, double trouble.
Yeah.
In terms of, yeah.
Belle's vision board had no less than 12 dogs on it.
Well, and that kind of makes sense, right?
And when Belle came on Saturday, she was lovely and brought me a lovely gift as well. But she brought Farley a present.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah, it was so cute. All right. So Lindsay and I never really fully have a plan on what to talk about. But we did decide one of the things that we sort of wanted to chat a little bit today is the honeymoon phase of weight loss surgery. So we always hear this term honeymoon, and I used to, and I have not always been the all-knowing person that I am today. So I'll admit that first. But I used to say there is no such thing as the honeymoon phase. I have now shifted that thinking a little bit. And so now I believe what we call the honeymoon phase is the phase after weight loss surgery where you can basically lose weight just by restriction. So that you can eat the same foods you always ate. You don't really have to worry about macros or calories or anything, but you're just going to lose weight through eating less. So you don't really have to worry about nutrition and fitness and everything, and you're gonna get some results. And I can't deny that you can come home from surgery and just by eating less, you are going to lose weight. That is only going to last so long. And from what I have discovered in 3.5 years, almost 4 years now of being in this community, through my own research, through my own experience, through other people's experience, is that how much weight you lose depends on your starting point and also depends on how poor your habits were before surgery. So if you were somebody that was literally a free-for-all all day, every day, ate whatever you wanted, made very poor choices, your restriction is going to take you a little further. So you're going to get probably, closer to 12 months of, losing weight just by eating less of those bad things. And I don't love that term anyways, but eating less of those things. If you're somebody who was, maybe your BMI wasn't quite as high, or maybe just your habits weren't quite as bad, and you'd already cleaned up a lot of habits. Maybe you'd already, gotten rid of refined sugar, and you weren't drinking soda every day, and you didn't really do takeout, but you just destroyed your metabolism so badly before surgery. But your foods were actually fairly good. Like you were eating, fruit and veggies, you were eating lean proteins, and you were doing okay. Well, then your honeymoon phase is going to be a lot shorter, and just eating less isn't going to take you quite as far. So you're probably going to be closer to 4 to 6 months of that honeymoon phase, where it's easy to lose the weight. And I use the term easy loosely, guys, because we all know none of this is easy. But the hard part of weight loss surgery is the habit changes, is the actual changing your lifestyle. So that's the tough part. If you just eat less of the same stuff you always ate, that really isn't that hard. And it doesn't last very long. So that is what I believe is the honeymoon phase of weight loss surgery. And we all have, I know mine was about 4 months. I didn't have a crazy long honeymoon phase. I also did clean up my habits right away, but just my restriction basically took me to around 4 months. Like all the weight I lost in those first 4 months were pretty much just because I was eating less. Eventually you get to a point where eating less actually doesn't carry you forward, and Lindsay and I see this all the time. Anything to add? The honeymoon kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, and I think with the honeymoon part of it is it's really, again, I mean, we don't, sadly, a lot of the times there's no part of the honeymoon phase or even prior to, I mean, some of them are a little bit better, where it comes into like how your brain works in this period, right? And the problem with that is when we're going beyond that phase, which we'll talk about in a minute, is that then your brain isn't doing any changing even in that 4 months or 6 months or 12 months, whatever, and then moving on to that next one, that's where it gets a little bit more challenging. So all the work that you put in that honeymoon phase, it doesn't carry on beyond it. And that's the hard part, right? So you're in a situation where, maybe you've lost weight and maybe you're feeling good and you've made some changes, but the mental game is not begun yet, right? Some of you have had really bad physical symptoms. We know there's a lot of people who, had some issues with their stomach and stuff like that. The mental game that plays a part of that as well. And so when we see people who are just new out, they're still dealing with the fears of what if I don't do this? I'm never going to make it. Nothing's ever happened, successfully with me before. And that's the mindset part that comes in there. But after you move past that part, there's a whole other game of mindset play that goes on there, partly looking at yourself and always seeing yourself looking fat, having that dysmorphia in your brain, not knowing how hard it's going to be and all of those things. So, I guess if Christina and I had our way, which, we want to take over the world, so we want to have our way, and we would definitely work with people pre-surgery, get them ready, think about what they need to get done, after surgery, within that small window that we would call the honeymoon, and then beyond the honeymoon. And those are kind of the 3 areas. And beyond the honeymoon could really be 12 months, 2 years, 10 years, 12 years, I don't know. But that's kind of where we want to make sure you understand when we talk about pre-surgery versus honeymoon phase versus beyond the honeymoon, it's going to be different for everybody a little bit, because as Christina said, hers was only 4 months. Some people it was 8 months. Some people were still, at 13 months, we're still dealing with, that restriction. But it's also looking at each part in a separate entity. But again, Christina, once you kind of go beyond that 4 months in your case, but everybody else could be different, things have to change again. And it's just like, oh my gosh, again. And yes, it's constantly changing.
It's ever evolving, ever changing, because even at almost 4 years post-op now, my body comes up with all new challenges all the time. Like recently, meat decided not to agree with me anymore. Dairy doesn't agree with me anymore. And just, my restriction has definitely changed. Like I can eat way more food. So if I had not changed my habits, if I was still the takeout queen that I used to be, I would be back to eating not quite as much as I did before surgery, but I can go out for dinner now. Like we went out for dinner last night, and I can go out for dinner now and I don't get asked if there was anything wrong with my food anymore because I eat enough food that I don't, like, nobody's concerned. I mean, occasionally Dallas and I went out for dinner a couple weeks ago, and we went to, like, I don't know, like an Asian kind of place, and it was like, I don't know, whatever food it was just very filling to me, and it barely looked like I touched it. Like, it was like, so, you know, some foods are more filling to me than others. It was actually my first time eating tofu, to be honest. So it might have been the tofu was more filling, but anyways, I don't know what it was, but it was just more filling. But then last night I had like veggie fajita things, and I ate like a solid portion of it. So it, like, I don't think anybody would be concerned that I was, like, you know, not happy with my meal or anything like that anymore. So if I chose, like last night I had veggie fajitas, if I had chose the burger and French fries, and if I was doing that on a regular basis, I could be definitely having a lot of regain happen because I can eat a fair amount of food now. You know, if I had a burger and fries, and if I had, you know, some stuffed French toast for breakfast, and the burger and fries for lunch, and a chocolate bar as a snack, and some pizza for dinner, I could easily be 3,000 plus calories in a day now without even, like, you know, batting an eyelash at it. Now because I eat healthy food, I tend to stick closer to 1,500 calories a day. But if I let go of the reins at all, now that I'm past that honeymoon, it's definitely something that could have changed. Now, the other thing that I like to add in about the honeymoon is the most important part in your honeymoon is not to lose as much weight as humanly possible in your honeymoon. That, I mean, sure, that's fun and that's great. And, oh, look, I lost 100 pounds in 6 months, whatever, that's great. However, many of us have lost large amounts of weight in short periods of time before and not sustained it. So the biggest thing about your honeymoon phase, and what I feel people should focus on, and again, why Lindsay and I would love to get our hands on people pre-honeymoon, in the honeymoon, and after the honeymoon, is during that honeymoon phase, you need to work on revving that metabolism up as hot as you can, so that you continue to lose weight, and the scale continues to go down, and you continue to get healthier once your honeymoon phase is done. So the faster you can make that metabolism during that honeymoon phase, the better your results are going to be long term. Maintenance is going to be easier. Losing weight after the honeymoon is going to be easier. There's going to be so many pieces that are going to be easier on you than if you just focused on losing all of your weight on restriction. If you think about, and I often will talk about the diets that I did before surgery because I was a diet queen before surgery. So I've done diets before surgery where I ate 800 calories a day. Did I lose weight? Absolutely I did. Did I gain it all back? Absolutely I did. So the whole thing is that you can lose the weight just based on restriction, but those are the people that I find have a hard time maintaining, because I promise you, you will not eat 800 calories a day for the rest of your life. You will start to feel lethargic, you will start to get sick, there will be, you know, medical complications. Your body cannot run on 800 calories a day for the rest of your life. It's just not possible. Plus, your belly will eventually get hungrier. So maybe you don't experience hunger right now, and you're like, yes, you will someday. So those things are just all things, and it might not be at 3 years for you. Maybe it's at 8 years. Maybe it's at 10 years. You don't know when that's gonna. But eventually, those things come back, and your capacity grows. So just be very, very cautious when you're living in that honeymoon. And it's the one thing that, like, I seriously, like, clench my jaw at, like, cringe all the time when I see people living in their honeymoon phase that are giving advice to people that, you know, well, just don't eat that forever, and just don't do that. And, you know, if you just stick at your calories this low forever, you'll be just fine. But that's not reasonable forever. So be very cautious about how you lose your weight, because how you lose your weight is how you need to maintain your loss. So when you're thinking about how you're losing your weight, if you're like, oh, I'm going to jump on keto, because there's, like, a ton of success right now around keto. Everybody loses their weight on keto. If you want to live keto for the rest of your life, because if you don't lose your weight on that.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting too, because again, Christina and I have been doing this for a long time now, and we've really been searching for, you know, what is missing in the bariatric community. You guys know, you guys have been on the thousands of groups that have hundreds of thousands of people in there. And one of the things that we really found to be missing was a support group that was beyond that honeymoon phase. And you know, you go into a support group, and you know, even our Recipes for Weight Loss Success group, which is our free Facebook group, it's amazing. But there are a lot of people who are still brand new in there, or pre-surgery, or getting prepared for it. They have lots of great questions and lots of great things. But then there's also so many people in there that are 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you know, post-op, and what we're telling the people who are 6 months out and what we tell the people who are 2 years out are completely different. So there's a lot of groups out there for the newbie, the person who just really needs some support in that first, you know, 6 to 12 months. But we found that there was a major lack of support for those that are further out. And a lot of people felt like they were just being left alone, right? Most surgery, you know, their doctors and stuff release them. I know in Canada, it's like 6 months, some are 12, some are 2 years. And then they're like, oh, success or no success, see you later, bye-bye. And all of a sudden you're sitting there going, well, wait a second. Like, I actually still have some concerns. I'm not sure. You know, I've got regain happening. Like, who's here to help me? And so that's kind of what we did. We decided we wanted to do something about it. So Christina, for those of you guys who have been living under a rock, what did we do this weekend?
So we opened our brand new free space on Facebook, our free Facebook group called Bariatrics Beyond the Honeymoon. And this group is meant for those people that are 18 months plus. Now, if you're 14 months, but you're beyond your honeymoon and you feel like you need in the group, you can tell us that. But for the most part, we are trying to avoid those people that are early out. And there's a reason. We love you guys with your brand new excitement and all of your questions. And we have the Recipes for Weight Loss Success group for you. But there are different issues that come up further on. And we don't want to discourage the new people by talking about our oldie things. And also, we don't want the new people with all their ideals to be in this group, because we feel like sometimes those people don't mesh very well, and we do see occasionally some little disagreements pop up and stuff. Because you can't speak to what you haven't experienced. It's like, I get people occasionally message me that, you know, they're sick all the time and they're throwing up constantly and they're vomiting, and I'm not the right person to coach them because I've never experienced that. I've talked to lots and lots of people, and I usually point them in that direction, but I'm not the person to walk you through that and to help you with that. I can provide you with resources, but it's not me. So my surgery has not been picture perfect per se. It used to be, but now I have had some issues as time's gone on, and my tummy does some things that I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But there are lots of things in the post 18 months, post 2 year mark that start to happen. I know one of our members, Christine, recently, she's over 2 years out. I think she's close to 3 years out. Her and I are very similar. And dairy just started bothering her all of a sudden. Like, all of a sudden she just cannot eat dairy. Her heart is broken. And so it's been a real struggle of, like, you know, for 3 years she's maintaining, she looks amazing, she felt great, and then all of a sudden just this one thing happened, and it's totally shook her world. We have other members who are maintaining like bosses, and then something happens in their personal life and it turns them upside down and they need more support. We have loads of people that have had regain, people that their goals change. We have, I'm thinking of Rachel, somebody who has worked with us for quite a while, and now she is like a workout queen, that like she's building muscle like crazy and like changing her goals completely, that now, yeah, she wants to be strong AF. Lindsay would say the real word. So we have, but that is the kind of what the Bariatrics Beyond the Honeymoon is for. We will put a link in the comments here, Santa, so that you guys can look at joining, but it is a free space, just meant to kind of have a space for those people that are further out. Energy balls is not forever. Yeah, Nancy, that's totally true. It's so funny. I find the same thing, like when I see somebody new out and they're like, oh, look at this little tiny handful of almonds that I'm eating for my snack. And I'm like, oh Lord, I could eat like, you know, this many almonds. But I remember a time when the little tiny handful of almonds was a snack for me, and I was like, that was so good. And then I'd move on with my day. Now I'm like, almonds and an apple with peanut butter and, you know, a whole bunch of things like becomes a snack for me. It's kind of back.
Oh, I don't hear it. Must be on your end.
Oh, maybe.
Very strange.
No, I don't hear it. As soon as you talked, I didn't hear it anymore. Weird.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, well, so guys, so what we did is we opened up this new group on Friday. to be fair. It was pretty new. And we did a grand opening this weekend, and we did a lot of different things in there. But one of the workshops that I did yesterday was actually about understanding your why and how it changes over your period of time. And I actually use Christina as a really great example, because if you haven't heard her story about her breakdown in a change room, and then having to go to her car, and how it all kind of kicked off. In the recipes group right now, she's actually telling the story. So go and take a look at it. But that emotion is not where she is today, right? So if I said, dig deep into finding that emotion, she's like, but that's not where I am anymore. It's not about that breakdown in the change room because the store didn't have the size that fit her anymore. Now it's changed and it's evolved and it's made something bigger and different and constantly moving. And so one of the things that we find, especially if we're just talking to people who are in the beginning of their phases, they're still in that change room phase. They're still in that emotion, that crying, that I want to be a certain way, where people who are beyond, whether it's 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, that has changed and shifted quite a bit. And so I kind of gave some ideas on how to change and shift your why, because it's still not easy. And this is the thing we say to people all the time, right? It's not, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I had surgery so I wouldn't have to live in the diet yo-yo world. You don't have to live in the yo-yo world anymore, but you're still living on a roller coaster. I'm not gonna lie, there's still motivation, no motivation. I hate this, I love this. This is great, I hate this. Why? That is everybody who wants to be healthy and strong and living their best life. That truly is. So now the shift has changed a little bit again, and it's not, even if you hit your goal, didn't hit your goal, regain, didn't regain, whatever your life is right this very second, whatever there looks like is probably different than it was before, right? I always say that there in air quotes, always changes, always moves, always, originally it may have been, I just want to walk. Now walking turns into I just want to jog. Jog turns into maybe I want to do a 5K. 5K turns. But if I said to you, at the very beginning, oh, you're going to run a marathon, you'd look at me like I was insane. So it's the same idea when you're first a little bit out, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, to where you are today. If Christina and I, back when I first met her, when she was still in her loss phase, I turned around to her and said, let's talk about you just being healthy. She'd be like, screw you. I don't want to just be healthy. I have all these things in my mind, right? So just remember that evolving, that roller coaster is going to exist wherever you are in your journey, but it changes a little bit beyond the bariatrics, which I think is important.
Well, and those are the pieces that in the new group, we're going to dig a lot deeper into. So it's just going to have a bit of a different look. But there's still recipes. There's actually recipes that you guys have never seen before, many of you. They're sorted a little bit differently because Facebook has evolved. Since we opened the Recipes for Weight Loss Success group 3.5 years ago, Facebook has different ways of organizing things now. So we're kind of taking advantage of some of that, opening a fresh space. It feels really good. It feels clean and exciting. But the focus in the group is definitely different. Like yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, maybe it's the day before, I posted about what is one habit that you can change. Just starting right this second, what is one thing that you can focus on? For me, it was putting a little less sweetener in my coffee. I'm also really working hard at drinking more water. It's actually tea in here, not coffee right now. And so yeah, I have things constantly that I'm working on too. And so that was one of the things that we asked, is just what is one habit that you can change starting right now to make yourself just a little bit healthier. So those are some of the things that we're focusing on a little more mindset going on in there for not the getting ready for surgery, not the losing weight, but like the after, what happens when you do regain weight? How do you focus on that in your brain? How do you change your why? How do you do all of these pieces? So just the group is focused different.
Yeah, and it's I mean, again, we just started it. We've got, I think, 190 members in there. So compared to our 18,000 plus members in our Recipe for Weight Loss Success group, it's definitely a smaller group right now. But come on over and take a look at it. I always say, and this is really, really important, take what you need, leave what you don't. So if right now your focus, and this is a big one for us, is water, anything else that doesn't have to do with water, don't worry about it right now, right? Don't worry about what the exercise is that's happening, or don't worry about, the self-care that's supposed to be taking, right? Don't worry about any of that. Focus on the things that you need to focus on, and eventually you will get to the point where we talk about self-care and that makes sense to you, or you eventually will get to the exercise and that will make sense to you. We're a big believer in those 5 fundamentals, which we talk about a lot, and that's really what we want you to focus on, but one at a time if need be.
I see some regainers. Some people are making comments here. Nancy, definitely, if you're not in the new group already, move on over there. And Sandy made a post the other day about some menopausey stuff, and she was looking to connect with some other menopausey friends. Many friends, I don't know what we call them, but anyways, many berry friends, there's got to be a word. But anyways, because menopause is another hormone shift, and a lot of people are finding that they are gaining weight at that menopause or perimenopause stage, and they're not changing anything, and trying to hack into what their body's looking for is a bit of a struggle. Sandy has done a ton of research with her own body, and trying to find some things, and she is finding some things that are giving her a little bit of success. So it's a great place to be able to connect with other people. Lindsay and I are not the experts on menopause. We're not there yet. We're coming, but not yet. We have a few more years, but we have other people that are going through that it's a great place to be able to connect with people that are doing the same things. And Santa said about regain as well. We have a lot of people in the new group that are experiencing regain, anything from 5 to 10 pounds to 40, 50, 60 pounds and beyond. That, you know, we have some people that have gained back all of their weight, which is a real struggle, mentally, physically, all of that. So that is a part of the reason why we had to open this group, is that the people who are experiencing regain, they tug on our heartstrings like no other. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, we love the people fresh out of surgery. We love you maintainers. We love everybody that's, you know, still losing, all of those things. But the regain people, we just feel like it's such a struggle in terms of, you know, you had surgery, you got healthy, you were doing all the right things, you're approaching your goal, either you made it there or you didn't. And then that regain is like a kick in the gut. It's such a struggle, that mental piece of the regain. There is ways to get it off. We have lots of people that are having success losing their regain. And it's something that we feel very passionate about helping people with. So again, come on over. Don't hide behind it. Don't disengage. It's something that we see all the time. Robin will tell you beyond like what anybody else says, that she says as soon as she disengaged from everything, the scale crashed. Keep engaged. Stay with your people. You know, talk about it. Normalize it, and then do something about it. Be accountable. Don't just hide and pretend like it's not happening and put your stretchy pants on and move on. It's happening whether you acknowledge it or not. So acknowledging it is what is going to change it. You cannot, I feel like Dr. Phil, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So you need to acknowledge that it's happening and find ways to make a difference.
Yeah, and I also think too, one of the things I really love so far, just because we've seen the interaction in this group already this weekend, is a lot of people really felt alone. Like, a lot of people were really like, oh my gosh, you know, I got the sleeve, and now I'm contemplating doing, you know, the bypass because I've had really bad, you know, whatever, medical reasons. And all of a sudden, like 4 or 5 people are like, oh my gosh, so am I. And they're like, oh, it's so nice to talk to somebody or ask some questions with somebody who's there. And so the people who have really felt alone in this journey, and then the regain happens, and so now you're alone and you feel crappy because you're in a situation where there's some things you want to change, and now you've joined a group and there's people here that are supportive, they're similar. You know, we've had so many people be like, oh my gosh, I've gained, you know, 20 pounds too, or I've done this, or I've done that. You know, we've done roll calls on where everybody's from. Like, it's a really, really fun place to have that support. And you are not alone. I promise you that. No matter what you're going through, you are not alone. Somebody has been where you are, or currently you have been there, or have made it past it and lived to tell about it. So we are here to support, and that's why we love it so much. Don't disengage. Don't think you're alone. Come and join us, because that is really what this group is all about.
For some reason, it sounds like there's a washing machine or an airplane taking off when I'm talking, and I don't know. There's no airplanes in my office and no washing machine in my office, so I know but I hear it too. So I'm like, I don't understand why it's happening. But anyways, when Lindsay talks, it's fine. So there's no airplane in Lindsay's office, but just in mine.
And I can't hear it at all. So weird. Very weird.
Strange. All right, so we will wrap up today's coffee chat, but come on over to the Bariatrics Beyond the Honeymoon. We'll throw the link in here. And yeah, if you're outside of the honeymoon phase, if you happened upon this group and you're still in your honeymoon phase, then feel free to join the Recipes for Weight Loss Success group if you're not over there yet. That group is still very much alive and well. We're not, you know, nothing's changing over there. We just wanted a space for these veteran members, which I use that term kind of loosely today. The interesting choice of words, but anyways, so yeah, make sure that you head on over there and just find your space with your people. That finding a support system where you feel comfortable is super important. So
Definitely.
All
All right, guys, enjoy your day. Have a great one, whatever you're up to, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.